History is full of bad decisions. Some cost a few £1,000s. Others destroyed companies, poisoned landscapes, and erased billions in a matter of days. And occasionally, the entire disaster began with something as simple as forgetting to convert a measurement. Number 1. In December 1998, NASA launched the Mars Climate Orbiter to study Martian weather and act as a communications relay. 10 months later, the spacecraft was completely destroyed. The cause of this catastrophic failure was a mind-bogglingly simple calculation mistake. The prime contractor, Lockheed Martin, programmed the thruster software to output impulse data in imperial pound-force seconds. However, the navigation team at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory expected that data in metric Newton seconds. This uncorrected mismatch made the trajectory calculations wrong by a factor of nearly 4.5. Instead of maintaining a safe altitude of 150 kilometers, the orbiter plunged to just 57 kilometers above the surface. The thin Martian atmosphere quickly tore the spacecraft apart, vaporizing it. This basic unit error instantly wiped out a $327 million mission, demonstrating how a minor software oversight can completely derail years of elite engineering. In second place, the celebrated Union of America Online and Time Warner created a massive financial crater. Billed in January 2000 as a historic merger of old media prestige and internet-era distribution, the deal was valued at over $160 billion. However, the aggressive internet culture of AOL clashed instantly with the rigid bureaucracy of legacy media, stalling cooperation. When the dot-com bubble burst shortly after, it exposed the highly inflated expectations behind the transaction. By early 2002, the company recorded a $54 billion goodwill impairment, the largest corporate write-down in history at the time. This paper loss wiped out immense shareholder value, turning a high-profile corporate marriage into a landmark symbol of hubris and overvaluation. Number 3 on our list, the Volkswagen diesel scandal represents a shift from poor judgment into deliberate deception. In 2008, the German automaker installed specialized software inside roughly 11 million vehicles worldwide. This code detected when a car underwent emissions testing and temporarily reduced harmful output to meet legal standards. Once back on the road, the vehicles reverted to normal driving mode, emitting up to 40 times the legal limit of nitrogen oxide. When regulators exposed the fraud in 2015, the financial fallout was immediate and immense. Volkswagen faced a wave of vehicle recalls, criminal fines, and buybacks, with total damages topping $33 billion. The legacy of this engineered deception remains highly active, with the company still recording diesel-related legal expenses well into 2025. Number 4 on our list, the Challenger space shuttle launch decision, represents the moment where the cost of a blunder is no longer measured in dollars, but in human lives. On January 28, 1986, the Space Shuttle Challenger broke apart just 73 seconds after liftoff, killing all 7 crew members. The physical cause was the failure of an O-ring seal in the right solid rocket booster. But the real blunder occurred on the ground the night before. With ambient temperatures dropping to 31 degrees Fahrenheit, well below the safe operating limit, engineers from contractor Morton Thiokol warned NASA that the rubber seals would become too stiff to function. Despite these urgent alerts, NASA officials pushed back, pressured by tight schedules. Under this intense pressure, the managers overrode their own safety protocols and cleared the flight. Just over a minute into the launch, the brittle O-ring failed, allowing hot gas to escape and tear the vehicle apart. The loss of 7 lives, including teacher Krista McAuliffe, permanently damaged public trust and exposed a deeply flawed safety culture where schedule pressure routinely overrode critical engineering warnings. In 5th place, the sinking of the AR/MS Titanic stands as a tragic monument to corporate overconfidence and outdated safety standards. Despite receiving at least 6 urgent ice warnings from neighboring vessels in the hours leading up to the collision, the crew maintained a perilous speed of over 22 knots, chasing a prestigious transatlantic crossing record. When the ship struck an iceberg on April 14, 1912, the true scale of the blunder unfolded. The vessel carried only 20 lifeboats, a legal but vastly inadequate amount that could accommodate just 1,178 of the 2,224 people aboard. This massive deficit, combined with a chaotic evacuation, resulted in more than 1,500 deaths, permanently exposing the danger of prioritizing speed and aesthetics over human safety. In 6th place, the Deepwater Horizon disaster shows how a series of overlooked safety warnings can cascade into an unprecedented environmental and financial catastrophe. On April 22, 2010, the offshore drilling rig operating in the Gulf of Mexico suffered a catastrophic blowout. 11 workers lost their lives in the initial explosion, and the ruptured Macondo well spewed approximately 4.9 million barrels of oil into the ocean over 87 days. The ecological and economic damage devastated Gulf ecosystems, local fisheries, and coastal communities. Investigations later revealed that the disaster was entirely preventable, tracing the blowout to critical communication lapses and ignored safety tests. Hours before the explosion, crew members observed anomalous pressure readings during a negative pressure test, indicating the well's cement seal was compromised. Yet BP supervisors overrode these warnings. When the emergency arose, the massive blowout preventer failed to seal the well because a hydraulic leak prevented the shear rams from cutting the drill pipe. By 2016, BP recorded a cumulative pre-tax charge of $61.6 billion to cover cleanup, fines, and legal settlements. This staggering sum reflects how operational shortcuts can transform a single engineering site into a national tragedy, widening the cost of a blunder from corporate loss to complete ecological devastation. Decades later, the environmental scar remains highly visible, with marine life and coastal livelihoods still recovering from the toxic plume. Number 7 on our list, the Chernobyl nuclear catastrophe, shifted the definition of a blunder from balance sheet losses to a permanent geological scar. On April 26, 1986, operators at Reactor 4 of the Soviet power plant began a low-power safety test. To conduct the experiment, technicians disabled multiple emergency core cooling and automatic shutdown systems, leaving the active core completely unprotected. This dangerous setup, combined with a critical design flaw in the RBMK-1000 reactor itself. The system possessed a positive void coefficient, meaning that any drop in cooling water density would cause nuclear reactivity to rapidly climb. When operators desperately attempted to insert the emergency shutdown rods, the graphite-tipped control rods displaced water and triggered a massive power surge instead of halting the reaction. The resulting steam explosion blew the 1,000-ton steel lid off the reactor, exposing the burning core and spewing 400 times more radioactive fallout than the Hiroshima bomb. The immediate human toll was devastating. 28 emergency workers and firefighters died from acute radiation sickness within weeks while trying to contain the initial graphite blaze. Over the next few days, the Soviet government attempted to cover up the accident, delaying public evacuation and exposing the residents of nearby Pripyat and millions across Europe to radioactive dust. This containment failure forced the permanent evacuation of hundreds of thousands of citizens, establishing a 30-kilometer exclusion zone that remains uninhabitable. The contamination ruined vast swaths of fertile agricultural land and productive forests, locking away billions of dollars in natural resources. Decades of environmental monitoring, soil treatment, and the construction of the massive new safe confinement arch have pushed the cumulative economic damage of the disaster past $700 billion. This catastrophic mistake represents a multi-generational legacy of political secrecy, leaving behind an active zone of radioactive exclusion. By shifting the consequences from accounting losses to a permanent ecological and human crisis, Chernobyl ranks as the ultimate reminder of how operational arrogance can scar the Earth forever. Across all 7 disasters, one truth emerges. The true cost was never just financial. The real tragedy is the erosion of public trust, ruined ecosystems, and lost lives. These historic blunders aren't just accounting errors, and they are urgent warnings of what happens when arrogance overrides caution.